entertainmentbuddha.com.
Hey now everyone, Matt Haywood from entertainmentbuddha.com, continuing our early access preview of Remedy's Quantum Break. That's right, people, we've already shown you Act 1, Part 2, Act 1, Part 3. Now we're getting ready to check out the other part of Quantum Break's formula, which are the Junction acts. Essentially, the Junction's Serene, who is the game's antagonist, and from his point of view, you get to see other parts of the narrative, but you also get to pick which way the narrative will progress. So each Junction episode gives you two choices, an A and a B, and depending on which one you take, will set the tone and the narrative direction for the rest of the game. So as I said in the previous videos, Quantum Break is all about replayability, seeing how the choices affect the narrative. So we're going to check out the first one here. The first Junction is called Hardline or PR. So you must decide if you're going to take a hardline stance to what the Monarch Corporation is doing, or a more PR type of stance. Again, I have to provide editorial commentary over this. It's part of the NDA agreement with Microsoft to do these early access previews, so I apologize that I'm talking over a cutscene. I know that bothers people, but I'll try to shut up and let some of it play out.
There are those who would question my
So as we know, Jack's been captured by Monarch. That's Liam Burke. That's our man Paul Serene. We got to see Beth Wilder. All of them are players in Quantum Break. There's Beth again. There's Liam. We'll get to see more of them in the live action part of Quantum Break, which takes place after this Junction episode. So essentially, the way Quantum Break plays, you have the acts where you get to do the gameplay as Jack. So that was Act 1. Part 1, 2, and 3. Then you have the Junctions where you play as the bad guy and you get to set the narrative tone with a choice. And then at the end of that, you actually have a 20 to 30 minute long live action show, again expanding upon the narrative of Quantum Break. So it's a pretty cool way that Remedy has decided to deliver the story of Quantum Break. It's unlike anything I've seen before. I know we've had games that have mixed in some live action shots, but this one literally relies on those live action moments to flesh out parts of the story that you don't get in the game.
I'll find who's behind this.
Find Jack. That's our priority.
So these Junctions, it's mainly cinematics and watching cutscenes, but there is a little bit of gameplay, if you will. You can search the world for one of the narrative objects, just like you can when you're Jack playing through on his acts of each episode. It gets a little confusing, but it makes sense, like I said. You have the acts, you play as Jack Joyce. You have the Junctions, you play as Paul. And then you have the live action TV show. So all those combine to make each act an episode of Quantum Break. Junctions, mind you, are very short. They're usually 5 to 10 minutes.
The loose ends.
Precisely. The choice is yours, but keep in mind, the men will view your decision as a unified strategy moving forward.
They're really just ways to explore the other side of the story. Things you're not getting when you're playing as Jack. So it's cool. I love how all these things are stitched together. But we know Remedy to be very efficient at storytelling, i.e. Alan Wake. So that is the time machine that has fractured time and has got all this stuff screwed up.
Jack would never understand the necessity.
Always planning to pick up, even in the Junction sections of Quantum Break. And like I said, it's worth it. They're not just dumb pickups. They actually flesh out more of the story.
I suggest we deal with the issue at hand.
And they offer plenty of reading if you're up for that. I know sometimes I'm not, but I actually, since I am digging the story or the narrative of Quantum Break so much, I do want to read these and learn more. As with anything that involves time travel, you got to try to wrap your head around as much information as possible.
The location I'd arrived in when I went 17 years back in time. The location where my fate was sealed 6 years ago.
Paul, The men are waiting for your input.
We had Jack in custody, but I was starting to witness visions from the future which made it clear.
So we got to see the dossier on Will Joyce and Jack Joyce, the two brothers, the protagonists of the game.
Down the whole building just to take out that geek. Stone cold, man. Talk about making a point. Shh, he's listening.
Like I said, plenty of reading in these pickups. Team really put a lot of work into fleshing out and expanding upon the world of Quantum Break. Some of the briefing gives you a few details about the breach that kind of kicks the game off. All right, so now we get to the meat part of what these Junction episodes are all about. It's literally you are presented with a choice, and you go A or B, and it's going to change the way the narrative plays out. Again, begging you to replay this game multiple times. Because the narrative changes will show up in the live-action show as well as in-game.
I could choose a path that would become the actual future, but it wasn't optional. The moment wouldn't end until I made up my mind.
All right, since Paul's like the Mac Daddy, Chronon-enabled dude, this is his power, the Junction. Do we go hardline or do we go PR? Essentially, as Monarch, are we going to be tyrants and kill anyone that saw what happened at the university, or are we going to take the more PR stance and try to win people to our cause? And what I like about this is that you can see both options before you make your final choice.
Any potential threats to our plan need to be erased.
So here we're checking out the hardline option.
Monarch would take a hardline approach. Crush all obstacles, eliminate all witnesses. It would be harsh. But I had made hard choices for the greater good before.
I dug through the area and I found everything I could on your bro. This is messed up, man. I trusted Monarch.
But the people of Riverport would turn against us. Our secrets would be safe, but the public would hate us, and Jack would gain new allies.
Monarch's got no authority to stop you, and you tell that to everybody on that bridge.
Right, so just because I viewed that one doesn't mean I picked it yet. Like I said, you can actually look at both options before you make your final choice.
Initialize a PR campaign.
I want to stay.
Again, depending on what choice I make, I will definitely affect things to come.
Monarch would take a PR-friendly approach and manipulate the public into siding with us. Our lies would give us control.
The manhunt continues as authorities search for Jack Joyce.
Hey, somebody's sneaking around down there. Hey! I think that's Jack Joyce!
We'd use the media to expose, then hunt for Jack.
I uploaded all the files I stole on that USB stick from the Monarch security station.
But the eyewitnesses would be out there, and Jack would learn our secrets.
Time to make the choice. Which way will I go? Hardline it is.
We're taking the hard line. Any potential threats to our plan need to be erased.
Take her and the others to the Ground Zero operation.
Make it quick. Painless.
All right, so that pretty much wraps the first Junction point. So hopefully you got to see how those work out. I mean, essentially, I'm setting the tone for things to come. But now what's happening, because of my choices this Junction, I'm going to see them play out in the upcoming live-action episode of the show, which is titled Monarch.
Oh, wait, no! Jack! This way!
Then at the end of each of these Junctions, we get to see more and more of Paul's journey and why he became the way he did and is running this Monarch
I use my
Corporation.
power
So
to guide us.
hopefully you're enjoying this early access preview of Quantum Break. Again, we looked at Act 1 Part 2, Act 1 Part 3. We just watched the first Junction point, and now we got one more video coming up that you can find on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/entertainmentbuddha, or website entertainmentbuddha.com, where we make you a better geek one post at a time. I'll give you a quick preview of that. Again, the live action episodes go 20-30 minutes. I'm not going to show you the whole thing because I think it's a disservice to you in the game. You really want to watch these in a proper setting as you're playing the game to see how the narrative is stitched together from gameplay to the live action piece. So come back. We got one more video to go in this early access preview for Remedy's Quantum Break.
Very difficult.
I don't think that's the baby.